Back on Ringgit Cents Plus with me, Azaria Tagaya. Before the break, we took on the case of a fresh graduate, Ain, who was in need of some financial education. This time around, we take a look at two more profiles, two very different types of people with one thing in common. They could use some savvy financial advice to get their spending and savings on the right track. We asked Han Liu from Ringgit Plus to look at these profiles to find out what course of action he would suggest. Let's watch. The first profile we looked at was of Alex, 28, a single guy working and renting a place in the Klang Valley. He doesn't have a credit card. He's currently paying off his PTPTN loan. His long-term goal is to buy a home. For the short term, Alex says as a single person who often goes on dates, he finds this habit is slowly burning a hole in his pocket.
In the money makeover, you think about it that way, which is what is the most painless way that Alex can make savings without really changing how he does things. So for example, if he doesn't have a credit card right now, but he spends money, what does he spend on? Probably buying groceries, because he might cook at home, probably going out sometimes and eating out. Probably spending on petrol for his car, if he has a car loan, right? Choosing the right credit card can really allow him, someone like Alex, to do exactly what he wants to do in his life. Spend on petrol, groceries and dining, and get cashback, rewards points, whatever you call it, more so than what he would do if he was just saying, here's some cash, right? Even if it's 3 to 5% on 1,000 ringgit spend a month, across all these things, 3 to 5% is an extra 30 to 50 ringgit in his pocket without changing anything. So that's the first thing to do. Look at the things that are quite light and easy, don't really have to change much about your lifestyle. You should do it anyway, and you make those savings 30 to 50 ringgit, that's 500 ringgit or more in your pocket every year.
The next thing he should be doing is to think about whether or not he's willing to make a few small sacrifices in order to achieve his ultimate financial goals.
Does going out less save you money? Probably. Does cooking at home and having home dates versus going out dates? I won't say whether it's more romantic or not, but on the money front, you save more money. So those are kind of lifestyle changes where he has to consider making as part of his makeover process. But again, painless savings first before the painful stuff.
Alex also has an additional question. He finds that when going out on dates, he's usually the one who always ends up paying. So he wants to know if it's appropriate to ask his date to share the cost.
A simple trick or simple example I generally look at is to establish the financial discipline within your relationship. So one key trick which I would encourage everyone to do is go, okay, how about this? Dinners on me, lunches on you.
Han offers this tip as a more practical alternative that can help to cut the cost of going out in half. Here's a breakdown of Alex's monthly spending. His take-home pay is 2,700 ringgit a month, rent is 500 ringgit. He's paying off a 430 ringgit per month car loan, and his PTPTN loan repayment costs 350 ringgit monthly. Car expenses, including petrol, toll and maintenance, comes up to 500 ringgit. He spends about 800 ringgit per month on food and entertainment, and that includes spending on dates. With miscellaneous spending around 100 ringgit, Alex finds that he's spending a total of 2,680 ringgit out of 2,700 ringgit that he makes. He does not save or invest and doesn't have insurance.
I'd advise him exactly to do what we're discussing all this time about the financial makeover, which is, sounds like he's only saving a very little bit, right? 20, 30 ringgit a month, right? Just by making adjustments to how he does things, not what he does. Which is, so for example, if it's, I've got a car, I can't change that fact, can I get a better car loan? So on a 50,000 ringgit car, the difference of 1% is 500 ringgit a year, right? And that's already triple what he's saving right now. Still has the car, still drives to the same places, still goes out with his friends, but just by even before he thinks about getting the car loan, or even he has one, it's about to end, he's about to get a new one, the simple fact of saving that 1% on a car loan, of which there are savings to be made by comparing across the market for car loans, that's an example of a painless saving that he can make straight into his pocket for him to then start building his wealth, start increasing his income, and then think about insurance.
On the Ringgit Plus website, users like Alex can seek and compare car loan options to see which can best meet his needs. Now, let's take a look at another profile, this time that of a married couple. Luke and Sarah have 2 young children. They have a take-home salary of 7,500 ringgit and have bought a house in the Klang Valley. They have a family car and their kids go to daycare. They typically spend money on food and their children, but they've been holding off on medical insurance and life insurance. They have 2 clear long-term goals: to save for their children's education for when they will need to go to college in about 15 more years. Also, retirement savings for themselves.
There are certain tips or tricks you can do to reduce that spending. Here's an example. You use a specific credit card that can be used for school expenses and count towards your cashback. Not all do. It's about making sure you make the right choices, right? 1, 2, 3% for a 10,000 ringgit a year spend is several hundred ringgit, which can be used for things like increasing the medical coverage that they want, or starting to save for the future. So if it's 500 ringgit a year, 15 years, that's several thousand ringgit. And if you include compounding interest over time on investments, that's a kid's education fund right there.
They have a home loan for which they're paying about 1,850 ringgit a month. We ask Han his advice to them on how to reduce the cost of the home loan.
I mean, without knowing too much about where they are in the repayment cycle, something like a 1,800 ringgit loan, it's usually about 400,000 ringgit, the loan size. Say for a 25-30 year loan. I'm just using ballpark figures here. But if you think about it, the variability in the interest rates between loans across banks is higher than most people expect, right? And even a 0.5% difference is huge, right? 0.5% of a 400,000 ringgit loan every single year is 2,000 ringgit, right? And the cost of refinancing now for a home loan has gone down so much, and the rules around home loan refinancing have been loosened so much that switching is easier, right? And switching is less expensive. So if you can save that 2,000 a year without doing anything different, just by changing a provider to one that can offer you a better rate, maybe because you had not done the research beforehand, that's 2,000 a year.